Hey everybody, it's me. As you know, James Gunn is making his DCU and all of that. I actually like the lineup so far. So good. So I decided to make my own take on it. What if I made a universe similar to that but with the Marvel characters? Like none of the rights apply to this, so it's all free Marvel stuff. You've got like your famous characters, some of the obscure characters in the main canon, and also stuff from the branch comics as well. So everything's on the table here. So I decided to do 17 projects in total, 10 films and 7 shows. Granted, these are not going to happen whatsoever in real life. That I know. This is all just like fan fiction stuff and what I would do with it. This first chapter is called Gods Among Mortals, and this is the beginning of a new era in Marvel media, in my version. There are some stuff you might question about, but in the end, I think you'll enjoy the lineup we have so far. So, with that out of the way, let us get into this first chapter of this new Marvel universe. The first project on this list is a movie called Iron Man Armor Wars. This is based off the comic of the same name, and there's no origin story here. What I can reveal is that War Machine and Rescue are already at Iron Man's side, and the three of them will be a new genius that rivals Tony Stark, Riri Williams, aka Ironheart. This is the story of Tony Stark trying to stop the people who are trying to use his technology for evil intentions. Basic stuff. The next project is a miniseries based off a character called Incognito. For those who don't know, such as myself, here is what it's about. Incognito, aka Zack Overkill, was a former science villain in the Witness Protection Program who gained his super abilities through illegal activities. Eventually, he becomes a vigilante and faces threats from his past. This is basically like a detective noir type of story. This was published by Icon Comics, which is a branch of Marvel Comics, and this is going to be interesting adapting this character to this universe. Next project up on deck is a movie called Hulks. It's not Hulk, Hulks. The Hulk family is established in this film. We have the Incredible Hulk, She-Hulk, Red Hulk, She-Hulk, and A-Bomb. The events of Planet Hulk do turn out differently in this universe. So, in this film, the Hulk family discover that the leader and some of the Hulk's past villains have conquered all of Sakaar, and when they go and find the Warbound, Kyra is their leader, and she has a son named Scar, who is the Hulk's son. So this is basically a father meets son type of film. Next is the first season of a series called Micronauts. Now, if you're an 80s kid and played with a lot of action figures, you'll know what Micronauts is. So let me give you the basic description. The Micronauts originate in a place called the Microverse, a microscopic universe full of strange planets like the human-inhabited homeworld, which is made up of diverse spherical habitats that are linked together in the fashion of a molecular chain. The reason why the team comes together is because of a threat posed by Baron Karza, a murderous dictator who gained control of Homeworld through the creation of the body banks where life-extending brain transplants are performed on the rich and inhuman genetic alterations on the poor. So basically this is a revolution story told in the Microverse. Next is a movie called Thor, Gods and Monsters. In this, Thor teams up with his regular Asgardian pals along with Moon Knight, Hercules, and Jane Foster Thor to team up against Gore the God Butcher, who is killing a whole mass of gods, and he's coming for the Norse, Greek, and Egyptian pantheon. This will be very cosmic based, and I hope you guys like it. It's going to be very amazing. A lot of humor, but not too much humor like in Love and Thunder, just like the same amount as Ragnarok. Next is a mini-series for Morbius. Now, Morbius is going to be a whole lot better than he was in the movie. It's going to be a lot more serious, it's going to be much darker, and there will be a couple cameos or two related to the situation in this Morbius miniseries. You might expect Spider-Man to show up there. I don't know. I'm just screwing around. Or am I? The next film is Captain America: Sentinel of Liberty. This follows a different story, unlike usual. We brush off origin stories. Bucky was already the Winter Soldier. He already broke out of brainwash. He already met the Falcon. He met Sharon Carter. All that is done and over with. This time, Cap and friends go on an island to stop a Hydra threat, but they're not alone because this is where we get introduced to the invaders, which are Union Jack, Spitfire, Blazing Skull, and their old friend Namor. Well, Steve's old friend. We also get introduced to a U.S. agent. This is basically like a action movie story like John Wick or Mission Impossible in a sense. Up next is a miniseries for Man-Thing. For those who don't know Man-Thing, he was a man named Ted Sallis who was trying to make a new super soldier serum until his car was shot down by mobsters in the Florida Everglades. Then, when the car was shot down, Ted Sallis, the super soldier serum, mixed with the Florida swamp water, giving birth to Man-Thing. Now, this is not an origin. This will have a few characters like Jennifer Kale and even Howard the Duck, but this will be very horror-based miniseries. Next is a movie called Wolverine Weapon X. Now, this is not an origin story for him. That's long past, and he's already joined the X-Men. This is basically Logan confronting his past and facing those members of the Weapon X program like Lady Deathstrike, Sabretooth, Phantom X, Omega Red, and Deadpool. There will also be the introduction of X-23, and the main villain is Mr. Sinister in a way, but in reality it's Miss Sinister. So there's some seeds planted for something down the line that I will go further into detail about. Next on the list is the first season of a Jessica Jones series. In this reality, Jessica Jones has already married Luke Cage and they have their daughter Danielle Cage. There are other street characters and there are some characters that are mentioned, but I can confirm that Misty Knight will be in the series and the villain will be Zebediah Kilgrave, aka the Purple Man. Now, I know you trolls are out there saying like, oh, purple guy, FNAF. Nope. This is a much different purple guy. Sorry, guys. Next is a movie called Fury. If the title doesn't make sense to you, this is a movie based off Nick Fury. You'll see multiple S.H.I.E.L.D. agents here, like Black Widow, Hawkeye, Mockingbird, Jimmy Woo, Maria Hill, Phil Coulson, Daisy Johnson. You get the idea. It's basically a S.H.I.E.L.D. movie where Nick Fury has to face off against the terrorist organization known as the Ten Rings. If you know who they are, you know who they work for. That's all I'm going to say on who the villain is. Up next is the first season of a Runaways series. If you've seen the series on Hulu or Disney Plus, you know who they are. If you don't, they're basically kids who ran away from their parents who were part of a cult. This is basically like a horror comedy thing in the same way as like Evil Dead or Zombieland, in a sort. This is a very supernatural focused series. Up next is a film called Spider-Man Responsibility. Spider-Man is one of the most iconic, if not the iconic character of Marvel Comics. I want to do like a dedicated story to this character. I actually am writing the story, so this would technically be the first installment of this universe. Now, the origin is already done and over with. He's already met like 10 to 15 villains already, and he's not. Gwen Stacy died. Mary Jane moved on from Mary Jane. Liz Allen married Harry Osborn. Black Cat, they're like mutual friends. But the person Peter Parker is dating now is Kitty Pryde, aka Shadowcat, who is with the X-Men. This would be basically the equivalent to Superman Legacy, which is going to be directed by James Gunn. This is basically a love letter to all the Spider-Man fans out there, in a sense. Next is the first season for a series based on the Kingsman comics. I don't say the movies because the comics came first, which Kingsman the Secret Service was made by Icon Comics, which was also a branch off of Marvel Comics. So this story will follow Gary Unwin and his uncle Jack London to work for a British Secret Service called Kingsman. So basically they need to work for the government and need to kill any like bad guys, if you guys get it. So this is basically a British action comedy film. Why did I say that? British action comedy series. That's the word. This will tie into many other things to come. Next is the first team film in this universe, X-Men Sinister. Now, this will take place after Wolverine Weapon X, and the roster will be Wolverine, Jean Grey, Cyclops, Rogue, Storm, Beast, Kitty Pryde, Gambit, Colossus, and last but not least, Psylocke. The villain in this is Mr. Sinister, who is set up in Wolverine Weapon X. Now, there's a reason I don't do the Avengers in this first chapter. It's because I want to branch out more in the universe before doing the big Avengers film. So that way we can know all the aspects of the world, both familiar and not so much known. Next is a film called Black Widow Red. Now, there's no origin story, but this will take place after Fury. So Fury does set up this film. So where we pick off is that Black Widow is hope. How do I put this? Black Widow is trying to prevent a war from happening between Russia, Symkaria, and Latveria. So you get your Winter Guard, Darkstar, Crimson Dynamo, Ursa Major, Red Guardian, and Vostok. You got Silver Sable in the mix, along with that Doctor Doom. Now, Black Widow Red does set up some stuff, along with some other projects like Hulk's, Captain America, all those others. What I will not clarify until the future. The last thing in the first chapter is a movie called Doctor Strange Hell on Earth. Now, this is going to be like set up a lot. It's going to be set up in Morbius, Man-Thing, and Runaways. You will see them there along with Moon Knight, but you also get introduced to the Scarlet Witch, who we already know in this universe, no origins needed, and Vision will appear as a cameo. The main villain are the Lords of Fear, which are Dormammu, Nightmare, Mephisto, and Chthon. So you'll get a lot of Spirit of Vengeance. Yes, Ghost Rider will be in it. You got your Darkhold stuff, Lilith. You get Dark Dimension, Dormammu, Clea, and Umar. Also have the Nightmare Dimension. So this will be like a very big film, bringing all the supernatural characters together in one movie. And that is all the projects in Chapter 1, which is titled Gods Among Mortals. Now, I am in the planning stages of multiple chapters in this universe, so this will be a big universe with more familiar and obscure characters. While I'm still writing, how about I give you all a preview of Chapter 2. This one, Chapter 2, is called Gods and Monsters. If that's not enough, let's take a look at Chapter 3, which is called Gods vs. Kings.
But I'm done running from my past. We have unfinished business.
Who's we?
When you love something, you fight for it. We're the ones who changed everything.